Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Not a whole lot to share between last night and this morning. A 12-hour turnaround is pretty darn quick, but let's take a look and make sure that things are holding at least somewhat consistent. When you're talking about fish counts, they haven't updated the counts there at the Willamette, and yeah, we're very well aware that there's nobody there on the weekends counting. Laughable. Very, very consistent when you're talking about numbers. About to hit 100 grand going over the dam there at Bonneville. One of the reasons why we are back out on the water, at the very least below Bonneville, but not great numbers, but certainly there's being some fish caught. We'll find out in just a few minutes how it is for Brandon on the Columbia here in just a little bit. River levels, I think they're actually dropping into pretty darn perfect conditions. I could very well end up out there today. We'll see kind of how things pan out. But based on the tide, you know, you're in the 7s on the Willamette when you're talking about there at the falls at Oregon City. Clarity, definitely clearing back up. It did, of course, spike here a couple of days ago. Basically, gin clear at 2.5. Taking a look at the Willamette. Man, I'm all over the place this morning. I got a lot going on. The Columbia, same thing. Based on that tide, it's going to be in the 6s or 7s, and it's going to continue to go back down. We got the question last night, are they going to spill again? I do not have that information. So it is possible that they will do another spill, which might bounce that river back up. But it all depends, again, of course, what Bonneville is going to ultimately do. Clarity is coming back around again as well, although I would have preferred it to stay in the 7s, just a little bit more off color is, again, it's always a good thing. Don't forget, make sure you send an email over to Jason Handley at Procure. You'll have a chance to win that weekly prize pack. When you do, you're going to need it. We got a lot of options still coming up going through the end of September on the Columbia. Of course, you got buoy 10. You've got fishing all up and down the coast. I mean, there's just a lot that we have to look forward to when you're talking about chasing Chinook around. And that prize pack will absolutely help you be more successful. Let's check in with Katie Sneed and find out what this weather is going to do. Katie, it's great to see you. It looks like we've got a pretty nice, you know, kind of summerish week coming up.
I think so. We've had a few clouds this morning, which didn't surprise us, and depending on what camera you look at will depend on your view. This one, I brought it up because it has the most clouds, and that's what we were expecting, is to have partly cloudy skies this morning. That would turn into a sunny day, and you can see that here on the model forecast that we just, you know, we have that river and we have that onshore flow, and it's not too uncommon for clouds to just come right on up and settle in for us right here, and then that west wind continuing out into the gorge. But you'll notice by the time we get through the rest of the day, it turns sunshine, and we stay pretty sunny all the way through, maybe a few morning clouds again tomorrow. And then Tuesday morning, there's this tiny little chance for a few showers. It's really not much. I'll show you in a moment. It's like 1/100 of an inch, if anything, for those that do get it. But most everybody, like 95% of the region, will stay dry. And then we go into another day where things are dry, and we stay dry pretty much for the rest of the week until we get to next weekend. Here it is, that one teeny tiny little chance in the metro area to see some showers on Tuesday, and that is it. And the same thing for along the coast. What we have going on in our upper levels is this ridge that builds in just for tomorrow, and then it starts to break down. This is what we call zonal flow, pretty much just straight across, no troughs or ridges. And then there it is, the trough that comes in on Friday that brings back cooler conditions, meaning that this week, as Owen just mentioned, we have almost summer-like conditions. We're above average all the way through until we get to Friday. We're dry, plenty of sunshine, and then you see that trough comes in, starts to bring in a few clouds, cooler conditions, and we could be in the upper 60s on Saturday, which I think there are a few of you out there who that's not going to make too upset.
Perfect, which makes me very nervous.
Why is that? Why does it make you nervous?
Oh, just because it could change, right? How can it be that perfect? And we know we're latter part of spring. Obviously, it's the end of that. We're moving into summertime.
I say everything from here. Let's see. Let's go this way. From here on, expect us to adjust it.
I love it. I think it's going to be a great week to get out and have some fun in the outdoors if you're able to do so. Katie, have a great week.
Yeah, you too.
Take care. All right, let's check in with my good friend Brandon Glass from Team Hookup Guide Service. He's actually out on the Columbia this morning chasing salmon with his clients. And first things first, Brandon, happy birthday, my friend. You get to turn 29 again, right?
Oh, man, for the 12th time, right?
You're such a young guy. I love it. How you doing this morning, though? How's the fishing?
Well, it's good. Fishing's nice. The catching's slow so far for us. I'm kind of in an area I don't see a lot of boats around in the area that I'm fishing, so I can't really give you a report of how many fish we've seen. Yesterday we fished around about 20 boats. I didn't see a net where I was at. I saw a guy hold up a fish. We lost one out at the boat yesterday, and that was our only takedown, which I was really surprised. It's been a lot better than that. Today we're down here fishing on a big ledge and anticipating, some good fish moving up from the lower river that we heard about some decent catching yesterday. So,
yeah, and that's been kind of the reports that I've been getting as well, Brandon, that there's been, not great fishing by any means, but there's certainly been moments where it seems like, hey, this could turn on, and then it just kind of peters out. Have you been noticing the same thing? I mean, is that a kind of a consistent way that you could describe it?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that, Owen. Like 2 days ago, we had 3 in like 15 minutes. Bang, boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
Like, okay, it's gonna go. And then we actually had to go in at that time. But the other day prior to that, we had 2 in like the first 20 minutes, and then right at the end of the day, we had a bunch more too. And it's like, okay, it's gonna go, and it just stops. So. Just kind of, yesterday was really slow all day long. And I don't know if it was just maybe it was so hot, so warm. The sun just kind of pushed the fish down. Today we have a marine layer down here in the lower part of the Columbia. Whereas, like, if you go up to Portland, up to Bonneville, it's a nicer, sunnier blue day. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. How are you actually fishing? Are you doing the pro troll thing? What are you doing to, maybe just be a little bit more successful maybe than others?
So what I've been doing is I've been trolling in the morning on high tide. Today we did not troll this morning. We just went to an anchor spot because I wanted to try to get this one ledge area. But I have been trolling. Once the tide gets moving, then I've been back trolling. So holding in flats that are shallower water, jumbo jet divers, lots of flat fish, quick fish, and kind of back trolling across the flats, kind of covering a lot of ground.
Gotcha. So right now you're sitting on the hook.
Right now I'm sitting on the hooks. It's my least favorite way to fish, but it's so damn productive most times. You got to do it.
I love it that he says I hate fishing this way. It's just too darn successful. Why would you?
It is.
Why would you want to do
terrible.
that? I don't know if I've ever even seen an anchor on one of your boats.
I have it there just for looks.
Yeah, well, yeah, I like them for protection, just in case you end up having to ram something. You just never know out there. All right, so if you're on the anchor this morning, are you sitting deep? Are you sitting shallow? Where are you sitting?
So on this ledge on the inside, when I get blown up from the wind, I'm in about 12 feet, and I get out in the main current, I'm in 24.
Oh, wow.
So fishing a ledge that's this steep, you can't really fish lead. You have to fish divers because the boat's shifting up and down on the ledge. And so I use divers. I use a little extra weight on the leaders to keep the divers down in position to where it's like you'd be fishing with lead. But you're able to shift up and down without losing all your gear and hanging up all the time.
Oh, okay, makes perfect sense. So you're adapting to the situation that you're in, and you're just trying to keep your baits where the fish are.
Correct. So if you've ever really fished on a ledge that can be or may not be between piling rows, not saying where I'm at, you get boils of current.
Right.
So you'll get shifted out in the heavier flows, and then also to back off a little bit, and you get pushed up in the shallows, and then you get pushed back on the deeper flows. But if you use lead, you're going to hang up on the ledge, and you break all your stuff off, and you're tying all the time.
Right.
So I've taken jumbo jets, added some extra weights maybe to my droppers to keep the divers down in position.
Gotcha. It's a great way that you can just kind of manipulate your divers, everyone, to change how they react.
Now, I don't do this around hog lines, right? If I'm around other boats, I don't use divers because you move too much, you tangle up everyone else. But I'm by myself, so it's totally a good way to do it.
All right, so tell me about your running plugs. You've already mentioned mag lips, flatfish, whatever other version. I'm sure you've got some of the better ones out there, even that your favorite colors, this and that. Are you doing anything different based on the time of year, the conditions that you're in, the water temperature that you're seeing, as far as what you're wrapping your plugs with? Are you using a shrimp base? Are you using a fish base? What are you wrapping your plugs with?
So anymore, I've always just used oil can packed tuna, and then I add some scent to it as well. Typically, right now, as of today, the water temp started off at 60 degrees. It's the warmest the temperature started all season today. It's been 56, 57, 58. Yesterday it went up to and touched 60 in the afternoon, but this morning I started at 60. So I'm going to start using a lot more of the garlic for my bases, right? Put it on there. I'm still using a lot of shrimp until the garlic really starts getting bit more often. I'll still stick with my shrimp. But yes, garlic's in my arsenal coming on right now.
Sounds like a great time for Salmon Slammer. Sorry, that's my favorite.
There you go.
That's my favorite scent from Procure. For whatever reason, it'll save your day a lot of times. All right, so you're on the anchor now. Any plans to change things up as the day goes on? As maybe when the tide changes, are you going to do anything different? Or are you just going to hang out there on the hook?
You know, it's this spot right here. I've done so well so many times the last several years. It's really hard to move away from a spot you've caught so many fish in the past.
Yeah.
And to know that right now, shifting from 24 to 13 feet with it's only in about 6 foot wide of an area, it's a pretty high likely spot. You have a lot of fish going by, and I'm seeing them on the graph. So
gotcha.
We have fish going by. It's just get them to finally participate and grab the gear. So
does that fall down to the old adage of don't leave fish to find them?
I've done that too many times where I kind of kick myself at the end of the day when I did that. And so sometimes it's better just to hang out, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So
last question, Brandon. It's a very quick interview. I would prefer to spend more time with him if I could. But my last question, how do you keep yourself occupied from going crazy sitting on the anchor?
I move around. No, I just realized, I only got to do this for a couple weeks. So I just kind of, maybe a week and a half I do this, and I just deal with it, and I go down to Astoria next week, and then I'm back to trolling.
Yeah, you're back to the real grind. You're going back down. Yep. So you're going to start your Astoria fishery, doing, of course, a number of different things, but you're going to start that here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I go down and do about 6 days of sturgeon first, catch and release, and then I start the ocean on the 22nd when it opens up.
Gotcha. Well, hey.
Yep, be out there in the salt.
If anybody out there, if you're lucky enough to join Brandon, there's the information that you can see if you want to get a hold of him. Maybe he'll just force you to jump on his dad's boat, which is the other half of their guide service together, and get out and have some fun. But hey, man, thanks for just sharing some quick info. And it sounds like the reports are starting to become very consistent. A lot of people are just on the anchor, kind of sitting in one spot, letting the fish come to them, or plunking has been the two ways that I've been hearing the most success.
Well, as I tell all my clients, these fish right now are Mach 2 mode. They know that there's only a little bit of spring flow left. They got to get upriver, and it's really hard when you're trolling 3 miles an hour and the fish is swimming 3 miles an hour. You got 6 miles an hour of difference. These fish can't get the troll bite as well as definitely sitting in position waiting for them to come to you.
That's a good point. Maybe that's the reason why plunking and anchor is just the way to go right now. Brandon, thank you.
For this time of year.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, bud. Thanks for spending some time. And again, happy birthday. Say hello to the wife for all of us from GPS, man, and have some fun, okay?
All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck. Tie lines.
Take care, partner. There you go. I mean, you really can't get a better report than that. There's a reason why everybody is starting to drop the hook right now. Bill had mentioned this yesterday, and plunking has become extremely effective, well, as it always is. But there's a lot of places right now that are just flat out. If you're on the beach with a rod, you're probably more productive than sitting in a $100,000 boat. It's just that simple. And a matter of fact, when we come back from this break, we're going to have Alex Maslow from Edge here. We're going to talk about my favorite plunking rod and a couple of their newest additions to the Edge lineup. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, Because We Fish, by Hawken Fishing, Perfection in Fishing Gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.